What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today I'm going to be finally sharing my Ghosts multiplayer thoughts and opinions. And this is, I know, very late. The Ghost multiplayer reveal was a couple weeks ago. I was on vacation during that time, so that's why I haven't done anything yet, and I've also just been really busy for the past week, and I've been trying to catch up on all the Ghosts information that has been released and leaked and everything. So I feel like I'm finally caught up now, and I finally have time to record this commentary. Alright, so let's jump right into it, and I'm going to split this up into categories just so I can keep my train of thought going and things are a little bit more organized, and it's not going to be a random scrambled commentary talking about this and that all over the place. So we're going to start it off with the completely redesigned heads-up display. I really like that they finally changed things up more than basically just changing up the colors. It's been basically the same since Call of Duty 4. You have your square mini-map on the top left. Bottom left you have your score for your team, right above that's the kill feed, and your bottom right is your ammo, score streaks, all that kind of stuff is down there. And that's been basically the same since Call of Duty 4. They've changed up the colors a bit, so I'm glad they're finally changing things up. This is finally starting to feel like a little bit of a different game, and they're pushing things beyond what it was a little bit. It's still the same engine and everything, but I like that they're doing something different. So I'm not too sure yet how I feel about the kill feed on the top right. It's going to be different, and it's going to take some getting used to, but I'm sure once we get used to it, it's going to be totally fine, and it's not going to be an issue. I also really like how your score is always displayed on the top right, so you don't have to constantly check the scoreboard to see how you're doing. But with this, you're going to always have your stats showing, and if you play for stats, then you typically don't play as well, or you change the way you play because you're trying to get that 2 kill death ratio or something like that. And if it's constantly up there and on your mind, you're going to be focusing on that way too much. So you got to learn to ignore that, I think. That's what I think one of the challenges is going to be with that, is learning to ignore it. I also really like the wider mini-map. It's just something different, and I feel like you'll be able to take advantage of that in a way. If, say you have a red dot that's right in front of you, but it's on the edge of your map, so you don't know how far away that red dot is. If you turn your character sideways, I think you'll be able to see a further distance on the map of your mini-map, and you might be able to use that to your advantage. Okay, so moving on, let's talk about the point streaks and the strike packages in Call of Duty Ghosts. Now this is going to be different than Black Ops 2, where basically any time you get any kind of score from assists or whatever that goes towards your score streak, it's not going to happen in this one. In Ghosts, it's going to be just like Modern Warfare 3, so a kill gets you a point, capturing a flag gets you a point, and that's pretty much it. So I definitely prefer the Black Ops 2 model of score streaks rather than the Modern Warfare 3 style model of point streaks. And that's just because there's certain things that you should be rewarded more for, like getting a capture kill. So if you're capturing the B flag and killing enemies, that should be worth more than just killing an enemy on the edge of the map that's nowhere near the objective. And another thing, like capturing the B flag, I think is worth more than getting a kill. I think you should get at least 2 or 3 points for capturing the B flag, especially if you're doing it on your own. But having said that, I don't really mind the point streak system either. At least you are rewarded in some way for playing the objective. One thing I'm really excited for is the fact that different strike packages are returning from Modern Warfare 3. So you have your Assault, which requires you to get kills without dying. That's like the standard one. Then there's Support, where you can die between kills and points, and you still build your kill streak up, or your point streak, sorry. And then there's also Specialist, which I just love. It just keeps the game fresh, and it allows you to play the game in a completely different way. So far, I'm just a little bit worried about the K9 5 point streak. I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's the one where you get the dog that follows you around, and it'll kill enemies that are in the direct vicinity of you. And my only real concern with this is the fact that the dog can probably kill you even after you kill its owner, which I really don't think should happen. This sort of reminds me of like a death streak in a way. If I kill you, you shouldn't deserve to get a free kill on me right after. So I'm a little concerned about that. It's going to be one of those things where you kill the guy and then instantly you're dead because his dog killed you. And you don't have time to kill him and the dog. That's basically doubling the amount of health you have to take away from the enemy. And it could be a little bit unfair in my opinion. As for Specialist, I'm really excited for the return of Specialist. And I can't wait to see how they're going to change it up. Because just looking at the list of perks, there can't be any way that you're going to earn every single one of the perks. You would be completely unstoppable. So I think from what I saw on the menus, I kind of watched it frame by frame. when they did the multiplayer reveal, it looks like you select your 4 initial perks for your specialist thing. So you get 2 kills, you get your first one that you select, another 2 kills, you get your second one, and so on until you get to 8 kills. And then I think that's where you get your specialist bonus, and then you have your other 4 perks that you select that you earn when you get your specialist bonus. So I think maximum you get 8 extra perks. But that's not confirmed, and we haven't actually seen how it works yet 100%, or at least I haven't seen anything on it, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see, and I'm really excited to see that. As for support, I'm really happy it's making a return because I really like the idea of it. I just hope there are absolutely no lethal streaks within that. I don't think any of the support point streaks should get you a kill directly. It should all just be, like the title suggests, support. It should just be helping your team out, helping you out maybe, but it shouldn't be getting you kills because you don't deserve those kills, in my opinion. Another thing that I think was just a little bit too powerful with support in Modern Warfare 3 was the EMP. I think they should either split up the EMP so there's an EMP that only affects the players and an EMP that only affects score streaks, or you just make the same EMP worth like 25 or 30 points. Because I think it was 18 points in Modern Warfare 3, and any player could get an EMP in a game. And it's an extremely powerful streak, so I don't think it should be something that just the average noob can earn every single game. It should be something that a good player can get every game, but he's not going to get 4 or 5 times very consistently in a game. Okay, and finally, with score streaks, I want to talk a little bit about the Odin Strike. So the Odin Strike is just kind of like the MOAB. It kills all the enemies, changes the map up, and it's really powerful. I really don't like how you earn this, though. To earn this, just in case you didn't know, you complete a field order, which you pick up a briefcase. You guys can look into it more. I don't want to go into a deep explanation, but a field order could be something as easy as shoot an enemy in the back, or kill an enemy with your pistol twice, or kill 2 enemies with your pistol, or kill 2 enemies while you're prone or something like that. Anybody can do that fairly easily. So with this, if you complete that field order, you call in a care package, and then you might get lucky and get the Odin Strike. And I think it's only available on some maps as well. But any noob can get this, and that's something that I don't think is very fair. This is an extremely powerful kill streak that kills everybody, and I can only imagine how frustrating it's going to be killed by this, because the death is completely unavoidable, and it's not like the enemy had to work very hard to get it. It's not like they had to build up a 25-point streak against you to get it. I would have much preferred this to be like a 30 or maybe, once again, 25-point streak or gun streak reward, not point streak. And maybe they'll still do that, and they've just been kind of keeping that a secret right now, and they haven't been including it into their multiplayer game testing type things where you can go play the game. Maybe they're just holding that out till launch. I really hope they are, because I think it would really keep the game fresh for a long time, because that was what kept me going with Modern Warfare 3, was the MOAB, and working up to that every game once I got bored of just winning and doing well. So now let's move on to the new Create a Class system that Call of Duty Ghosts has. I really like how in Black Ops 2, you aren't forced to run a secondary or equipment, and you have the freedom to create the perfect classes for you. And this new Ghost system is very similar to that, and I really like the looks of it so far. I really love the perk system and the way that the perks are weighted differently, because with the old systems, you selected a perk by comparing it to the other perks in the same tier, and oftentimes 1 or 2 perks would completely dominate their tier, which would leave the other ones unused about 90% of the time. So for example, just think of Fast Hands versus Toughness. Toughness you're using in every single gunfight that you find yourself in, and it's extremely helpful. It keeps you alive and it helps you win those gunfights. Fast Hands, it allows you to throw equipment faster and swap guns faster. It can be useful, but it's nowhere near as useful as Toughness. With this new weighted system, you can get like 2 or 3 of the previously less used perks in exchange for one of the perks that you felt almost obligated to use because it's so powerful. And I think this is going to change things up a lot, because people are going to be more likely to run these more unused perks, and there's going to be a lot more variety in the game. At least that's what I'm predicting right now, and I think I'm going to be right, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. So far, from the perk list that we've seen, there is one perk that I'm a little bit concerned about, and that is Deadeye. For those of you that don't know, the description is increase the probability of increased damage the farther into a point streak. So the more kills or points you rack up in a row, the higher the probability of you killing in one less shot, probably. I hope it's just one less shot or something like that. I hope it's just a stopping power type thing that's very rare, and maybe it'll help you in the odd gunfight once you get up to like a 10-point streak. But we'll have to see how that system works out and how rare it actually is and what kind of probabilities happen. So maybe if you get to a 10-kill streak, then you basically have stopping power. And I'm a little concerned about that, but it is 5 points, so I guess there's that trade-off there. Alright, so now let's talk about the new mechanics that are integrated into the engine. So there's the mantle, there's the knee slide, and then there's the lean. I can't wait to get my hands on the game to test this because it's really hard to make a judgment without first feeling how smoothly these mechanics are integrated, so I'm just going to talk about these with the assumption that they run as smoothly as advertised. So the mantle. I love how it sounds since I like to move around the map a lot, and I often feel helpless jumping over small objects that I feel shouldn't have taken me out of the fight for that long. So I'm really excited for this feature, and maybe it'll encourage a little bit more movement around the map. The knee slide, I'm a little bit nervous about this one. It seems like it could be very hard to counter, and it may be abused. I just don't like the fact that you can shoot while performing this maneuver, although from what I've seen, I think you can only hip fire, but I don't know for sure, so don't quote me on that. I just think that it might turn into everybody knee sliding all over the place, and that could get a little bit annoying, I think. And finally, the lean. I'm not too sure if I'm going to like this or not. I just hope it's not going to be one of those things that you can't avoid doing if you don't want to. I don't know exactly how the mechanic works, but they said it's very intuitive, and I hope that's the case. I don't want to be stuck leaning on a wall when I don't want to. Like if I'm trying to run around a corner and my guy just automatically sticks to a wall and starts leaning, that's going to be very frustrating. Likewise, if I'm trying to lean but my character doesn't and I just strafe out into the open and get killed, that's also going to be really frustrating. So I'm excited to see how this is actually implemented, if you have to hold a button or how it works to make sure that lean works only when you want it to, and when you do want it to, it is going to work every time. Alright, so now let's move on to the Ghosts map design. Now, we haven't seen many maps yet, but the ones I have seen seem to follow suit with the Modern Warfare 3 map designs, which is relatively random with very little symmetry. I definitely prefer Treyarch's more balanced, linear map design, especially for competitive play, but that doesn't mean this style of map design is bad, it's just different and it's going to play out differently. Who knows, maybe I'll be completely wrong here and they won't be as unbalanced or random as I imagine, and I guess we'll just have to wait and see how they play out. Now, another thing with map design that Infinity Ward has really been working on for this is dynamic map elements. So, for instance, you can blow up the gas station and it's going to fall over and completely change that area of the map. Or you can blow up some buses and it looks like they fall and something happens. You might open up a laneway or something like that. But they're really pushing these new dynamic map elements. I like the idea of these elements and the fact that they're trying new things, but I also hope these elements don't alter the flow of the map too much. I've always liked to think of COD maps as sort of chessboards, and I like it when the board itself remains constant and it's how you play it that matters. So I really don't mind dynamic elements like the gas station that you can blow up and it falls over, because it doesn't really change the entire flow of the map. I would be a little concerned, however, if I saw some falling logs or something you can do, and if you trigger these falling logs, is that going to block off a complete side of the map so you can't take that laneway anymore to get across the map? Because if that's the case, then I'm not going to like that, because that basically cuts off that entire side of the map, and now you're limiting what you can do with the map. And I really hope that's not the case, at least with not many of the maps. So finally, I want to talk about the new game modes, but before I do, I just want to say that if there's anything about Ghosts that you'd like to hear my opinion on that I didn't touch on in this video, then please leave a comment and I will reply. I'm going to read every single comment for the first few days, and I'll answer everything that I possibly can in the comments below. Alright, so let's get into the game modes. Cranked. I really like the idea, but I'm not much of a TDM player, so I don't see myself playing this often. I think it's an awesome game type, and I'm glad they've tried something new, although it wasn't too much of a change. You just have that 30-second timer to get your kill. And I think it will be a successful game mode. I'm just not going to be playing it much because I don't really like TDM style game modes. Next up, Search and Rescue. I really love this game mode, and I can definitely see myself playing this over Search and Destroy, because I feel like the pace will be just a little bit faster, and you have that chance of respawning. So I feel like you can make some riskier moves because if you die and your teammate picks up your tag, you're back in the game. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to try this game mode out. And finally, for the new game modes, there's Blitz. This is the one where you basically just have to run to the enemy team's spawn, and there's like a portal there. You go through it and you score a point for your team. I'm going to give this a try, of course, and I don't know, maybe I'll like it, but for right now, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a ton of fun to me. Basically, you're just going to be fighting your way to the enemy spawn over and over and over again, and I think it'll just get repetitive, and it's not going to be very fun, in my opinion, at least after a while. One more thing I want to point out with the game modes is the fact that domination has gone back to the old way, so there's no time limit, and there is no halftime. So it's 100% dependent on score, and I do like this because I really love those, like, last second triple cap comebacks. So the enemy team has 198 points or something, and then you triple cap them and you get the win. And those are some of the most intense and fun games of domination that you will ever play. But on the other side of that, you don't really have the balance that you had with the halftime in Black Ops 2. You get your initial spawn, and maybe you'll get the bad side of the map, maybe you'll get the good side. And you don't get to switch sides, so it's not really balanced in that sense. Although it really doesn't make that much of a difference in my opinion. Alright, so that's going to wrap it up for my thoughts on what we know so far about Call of Duty Ghosts multiplayer. Remember to leave a comment if there's something I missed that you were looking forward to hearing from me about my opinion on Call of Duty Ghosts. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys next time.